the UFC pays its fighters, but the gap between the richest and the poorest, it's massive. And some of what you're about to see might shock you. This isn't about hating on the UFC. It's about showing you the reality of what fighters actually earn. So buckle up, because we're about to break down the biggest wealth gap in combat sports.
The fighters need to have a governor body. Like, I think they need a union. The reason why is because when you look at the numbers, the UFC, how much they make, if you paid every single fighter $2 million, how many people are on the roster? Let's just say $1 million, 450 athletes. So you give them a $500 million check. You allocate $500 million just to the athletes a year. So for me, when I started fighting, Matt was always saying, you're going to save your money, save your money, save your money, save your money, start investing your money. That way you don't have to worry about a pension, because they're never going to.
Let's start at the top. These 5 fighters didn't just win belts, they built empires. Coming in at number 5, we have Ronda Rousey with an estimated net worth between $20 and $60 million. Rowdy Ronda wasn't just the UFC's first female bantamweight champion, she was a phenomenon. She defended that title 6 times, headlined the UFC's first ever women's fight, and made the entire world care about women's MMA. But here's where it gets interesting. After retiring from MMA in 2016, Ronda jumped to WWE, won championships there too, and appeared in major Hollywood films like Furious 7 and The Expendables 3. She's been doing seminars, endorsements, and media appearances ever since. That's how you turn athletic success into generational wealth. At number 4, it's the beast incarnate himself, Brock Lesnar. Estimates put his net worth in a similar range as Ronda's, but some sources go even higher due to his WWE mega contract. Before UFC, Brock was an NCAA Division I wrestling champion. He dominated WWE, then shocked the world by becoming UFC heavyweight champion. Even though his MMA career was shorter than others on this list, Lesnar headlined some of the biggest pay-per-view events in UFC history: UFC 100, UFC 116, UFC 200. Then he went back to WWE, where he became one of the highest-paid wrestlers on the planet. Multiple revenue streams. People, that's the blueprint. Number 3 is GSP, Georges St-Pierre, net worth estimated between $30 and $50 million. Many consider him the greatest welterweight of all time. GSP held the UFC welterweight title for years, defended it 9 consecutive times, and won 33 rounds in a row between 2007 and 2011. 33! Then he retired, came back 4 years later, and won the middleweight title too, making him a 2-division champion. After fighting, GSP moved into acting. Remember him in Captain America, The Winter Soldier, plus endorsements, seminars, and media work. The man's legacy speaks for itself.
My morning routine every day.
It folds. I like to see you wiggle, wiggle, for sure. It makes me want to dribble, dribble. You know, riding in my Fiat. You really have to see it. 6'2" in a compact.
Number 2 is the Eagle, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Estimated net worth between $40 million to much higher, depending on the source and his various business ventures. Khabib retired undefeated at 29-0. He was the longest reigning UFC lightweight champion, and his fight against Conor McGregor at UFC 229 That drew 2.4 million pay-per-view buys, the most in MMA history. After retirement, Khabib founded Eagles MMA, started promoting his own fight organization, and became a full-time coach. Forbes even ranked him as the #1 most successful Russian athlete in 2019. Khabib didn't just win fights, he built a brand.
I know. No problem, Khabib. Anytime. No problem. Hey, let's go. See you, brother. Thank you. That's not. Dad.
And at #1, who else could it be? The notorious Conor McGregor. Estimated net worth? Around $200 million. Conor is the first UFC fighter to hold titles in 2 weight classes simultaneously. He's the biggest pay-per-view draw in MMA history, headlining the 5 highest-selling UFC events ever. But here's the kicker. In 2021, Forbes ranked him as the highest-paid athlete in the world at $180 million that year alone.
The money he made after he fought Floyd, made $100 million fighting Floyd, then came back defending belts, making really good money. He got rich, started his business, sold it for a couple $100 million. When you made it to the top, it's hard to wake up and run those miles when you sleep in the silk sheets. That's true, man. That's why guys like John Jones, Khabib, those guys who make it there and have money and have everything and stay there for that long, that's impressive, man.
How? His whiskey brand, proper number 12, endorsement deals. The Floyd Mayweather boxing match that generated over 5 million pay-per-view buys. Conor didn't just fight, he became a global icon. Love him or hate him, the man changed the financial game for fighters. Okay, so those are the millionaires. But now, we're flipping the script. Because for every Conor McGregor, there are dozens of fighters grinding it out for thousands, not millions. Let's talk about the other side of the octagon.
Yeah. Listen, look, I'm a London scammer. Yeah. I see it, I want it, get a nice Nabando Paris whip it.
Now subtract training camps, coaches, nutritionists, travel, medical expenses, and taxes. Some fighters walk away with almost nothing. Let's meet some of them. Sam Hughes. She's fought multiple times in the UFC strawweight division. Early in her UFC career, fighters like Sam were earning that base minimum. Between losses, tight decision wins, and mounting expenses, the profit margins are razor thin. Sam had to balance fighting with the reality that this might not pay all the bills, and she's not alone. Terrence McKinney burst onto the scene with a 7-second knockout at UFC 263, the fastest finish in UFC lightweight history. But even after that viral moment, McKinney was still fighting on the early career pay scale. Yes, he got a bonus that night, but did his base pay for those early fights? Still in the low thousands. He's had ups and downs since then, and building wealth in MMA when you're not a champion is a constant battle. Now here's a wild one. Jamahal Hill. He actually became a UFC light heavyweight champion in 2023. But early in his career, Hill was grinding on the prelims, making base pay, working multiple jobs. Even champions start from the bottom. The difference is some break through and some don't.
Grappling with Jamal. He let me start mostly from the dominating top position, trying to control him, which was good for him from a technical standpoint, for him to work on some of the things that he's going to need to tighten up. Because if he can hit those type of things without using his strength and trying to be just a bigger person, I think that's going to go a lot further for him than just muscling out of everything.
So let's put this in perspective. Conor McGregor earned $180 million in 1 year. That same year, a prelim fighter might fight twice and walk away with $50,000 before expenses. The wealth gap? It's not just big, it's astronomical. Now, is this the UFC's fault? Is it the sport's structure? Is it capitalism? Honestly, it's complicated. The UFC argues that stars like Conor bring in massive revenue, so they deserve massive pay. And that's fair. McGregor sells tickets and pay-per-views like nobody else.
Yeah, but I try to control myself, you know. This like, okay, because I know everything, this what come to me, this is from God, you know.
Okay, nice to meet you. My name is Conor McGregor. I'm very hungry. Send me location.
Please.
Assalamu alaikum.
That was his name before, wasn't it?
Just tell me where.
Number one.
This is no joke.
Where you at, boy?
Khabib Nurmagomedov, nicknamed the Eagle. We're talking about his wealth, his career wins, and stupidly things that he owns. And even UFC boss Dana White reveals about it. And his longtime rival Conor McGregor said Khabib Nurmagomedov is a scammer to seeing his wealth and power of fans.
Like fame and money show who you are. You know, all the time we hear about like money and fame change people. No, when money and fame come, these two things show who you are.
Khabib Nurmagomedov is one of the rare athletes whose story sounds like a legend even while he's still alive. A fighter who came from the remote mountains of Dagestan, trained in brutal conditions, disciplined by a father whose philosophy created an army of champions, and a man who retired undefeated without a single scratch on his legacy. Today, we're not just talking about his dominance inside the octagon. We're diving deep into his wealth, the wild things he owns, the secrets Dana White revealed, and why Conor McGregor continues to accuse him of being a scammer even after retirement. This is the true story of the Eagle.
Slow with it, baby.
Come on, baby.
Move around, baby. Move around.
Come on. Let's go, champ. Let's go, boy. Kick some ass. Go, boys. All right, fellas, kick some ass. Let's go.
To understand the scale of Khabib's rise, you have to go back to his childhood. Born in 1988 in a tiny mountainous village, Khabib grew up in an environment that forged warriors, not athletes. His father, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, was a former soldier and one of the most respected coaches in Dagestan. Training under him wasn't normal, it was survival. Khabib didn't wrestle other kids. He wrestled bears. He didn't run on a treadmill. He climbed mountains. His life wasn't about becoming famous. It was about becoming unbreakable.
It was just beginning. I remember like when I was 20 years, I have like 5-6-0 in my MMA record. And I was thinking about, when I watch UFC, I see like they have a lot of people with bad records. And I was like, okay, I have 5-0. Why I cannot compete in UFC? And at that time, my dream pushed me, you know. And right now I'm here. You know, it's like after 12, 13 years, I'm already finished with my career. You know, time goes very fast.
By the time he entered the UFC in 2012, he already had a perfect record. But the world didn't know what was coming. Khabib introduced a style that looked simple, but felt impossible to stop. His grappling was like a vice. Once he grabbed you, the fight wasn't yours anymore. He ragdolled elite athletes, champions, and knockout artists like they were amateurs. From Rafael dos Anjos to Edson Barboza, from Dustin Poirier to Justin Gaethje, every single opponent suffered the same suffocating fate. And of course, there was his most famous victory, Conor McGregor, a rivalry so personal it shook the MMA world. Khabib retired with a record of 29 wins and 0 losses, one of the most flawless careers in combat sports history. Not a single opponent beat him. Not a single judge's controversy. Not a single rematch was needed. A clean sweep of an entire division. That alone made him a legend. But what came after retirement turned him into something even bigger. Because once Khabib left the cage, his wealth exploded. Today, Khabib is one of the richest athletes to come out of the MMA world, and it didn't happen by accident. After retiring in 2020 at the peak of his fame, he shifted from fighter to global businessman. Sponsorship deals from the Middle East, cryptocurrency companies, sports brands, tourism authorities. Everyone wanted the undefeated champion as their face. His business empire spans gyms, fitness academies, cryptocurrency investments, and even his own MMA promotion, Eagle FC, backed by wealthy partners from Russia and Dubai. Khabib's net worth is often estimated in the tens of millions, but insiders believe the real number is far higher because of undisclosed private investments. And what he owns, that's where things get interesting. Khabib, despite his humble lifestyle, actually has access to luxuries that would surprise even his biggest fans. Private charter jets, high-end villas in Dubai, multiple real estate properties, a garage filled with luxury SUVs, and watches that cost more than some fighters' yearly salaries. Although he rarely flaunts it publicly, those close to him say Khabib enjoys traveling in private aircraft because of the intense global attention he receives. He has also partnered with massive brands in the UAE, allowing him access to private resorts, estates, and exclusive events that only billionaires are invited to. And this is where Dana White enters the story. Dana has repeatedly said that Khabib is one of the biggest international stars the UFC has ever had. Behind closed doors, Dana revealed that Khabib turned down a $100 million offer to come back for one more fight, an amount no UFC fighter had ever been offered. Dana admitted that the UFC was willing to break records just to get Khabib versus GSP, or a McGregor rematch. But Khabib walked away, not because of the money, but because he promised his mother he would retire after his father passed away. Dana also revealed that Khabib's fan base is so massive and so loyal that his presence alone boosts UFC business in the Middle East. In simple terms, the UFC needed Khabib more than Khabib needed the UFC. But while the world respected his decision, one man didn't. Conor McGregor. The rivalry between Khabib and Conor never ended. Even after retirement, Conor kept attacking him. This time not about fighting, but about money. After seeing Khabib become one of the richest and most influential figures in combat sports, Conor went online claiming that Khabib was a scammer, accusing him of playing humble publicly while building a giant business empire privately. According to Conor, Khabib pretends to be poor and simple, but is actually operating like a billionaire businessman behind the scenes. Fans reacted in two ways. Some laughed, saying Conor was jealous because Khabib retired undefeated and ended their rivalry forever. Others believed Conor's words were just another attempt to stay relevant, because deep down, Conor knows the truth. Khabib's power doesn't come from money. It comes from millions of fans who respect him for his discipline, morals, and the way he walked away without ever being defeated. Khabib, as always, didn't respond. That silence is what makes him so powerful. It frustrates his rivals and elevates his legacy. He doesn't need to argue, he doesn't need to clap back. His record, his character, and his impact do the talking. Today, Khabib influences more fighters than ever. He coaches champions like Islam Makhachev. He opens training facilities across the world, and he invests in youth sports to build the next generation of Dagestani warriors. His businesses continue to grow, his fame continues to rise, and his wealth continues to expand. But through it all, Khabib remains the same man he was in the mountains, disciplined, grounded, and true to his beliefs. The eagle may have retired from flying inside the octagon, but outside the cage, he's soaring higher than ever.